Well, here is something to consider. Maybe if the government didn't rely so heavily on corporate and personal income taxes, a sharp drop in those revenues wouldn't be such a big problem. Instead, why don't we consider dropping the tax code altogether, all of those thousands of pages, and come up with a more economically equitable way to fund the government? Here to score that for us, Republican Congressman Darrell, California, one of those congressmen that Jesse wasn't talking about, who didn't vote for all these bailouts.
Not at all. And there's no question that if we went to a tax where America shared in the burden just as they shared in the goods and services, we would get around these ups and downs. One of the other things about this big drop is that small businesses take their money more and more, subchapter S, as dividends.
Right.
So they don't pay the normal withholding. They're paying a dividend, just like you or I, which doesn't have Social Security or Medicare. So really it is those who have been paying the highest income tax, the small business, that in fact is going on bad times, not making the profit, not getting the dividends.
Well, for those who don't know, and I'm sure a lot of people do know, but I'll say it again anyway, you were a very successful businessman. You made millions of dollars.
Selling to General Motors.
Selling to General Motors, selling to a lot of people. But if anybody with business sense was involved in dealing with this budget, they'd throw up their hands and say, bring in the police. It's time to arrest somebody.
If we'd really had people who understood business, not just in this administration, but the previous administration, there were two things we would have done. First of all, we would have had more of an eBay-style bidding for General Motors and Chrysler. Why should the government bid on something when, in fact, nobody would bid half that price?
That's right.
Inherently, that was wrong. We paid too much. Same with AIG.
Same with the whole TARP spending.
Secondly, under both presidents, President Bush and President Obama, these $250 checks to various people, there's nothing more illogical than giving money out when, in fact, what we're saying is let's invest. There's not really very much investment under the last administration or this administration. If the federal government's going to get involved in spending to help get us through a recession, by definition, it has to encourage investment. Very little encouraged investment.
The good thing, as far as you and I are concerned, because we don't believe that socialism works, we believe that eventually it's an end game. And as Maggie Thatcher said, it's, the problem with socialism, eventually you run out of other people's money. And we're very close to having done that.
We really are. But you might remember in the Reagan, Margaret Thatcher period, investment tax credits, although sometimes they bought Cadillacs, in fact, they allowed other people to take reduced taxes in return for making the investment of their choice. And oddly enough, if they'd bought Cadillacs, we might not be bailing out General Motors right now. But people were handed money to spend, not to invest.
You mentioned the word choice, which is a critical word when it comes to our freedoms. And what we are seeing now, when the government taking over, the president going in and firing people, all kinds of freedoms of choice that used to exist in the private sector are slowly being taken away. So far, mainstream America hasn't felt it. How soon before they do?
Well, mainstream America has already felt in those lowering income tax revenues, they've felt the pinch. What's amazing is this week on the House floor, overwhelmingly by the majority, they're going to vote $1 billion plus of new benefit for federal workers where they get to take off an extra 12 weeks if they adopt a child, take in a foster child. Wonderful benefit, not found in the private sector. Of course, they say it's not going to cost because it's going to be somehow dollar neutral. The end result is federal workers are going to get a benefit this week. Well, people are being laid off by scores in the private sector.
I mentioned something we should be positive about, but something we should be negative about is the fact that so much of the government growth involves a shift of political power. And as the unions, the public sector unions, get stronger and demand more, could they push a political agenda that far exceeds their numbers?
Well, I think you saw it in President Obama personally reaching out in California and saying, you can't make this cut because it's a cut of union jobs by a relatively small amount when you consider it was a $6 billion or $5.6 billion voluntary program. Amazingly, just a couple of weeks after that, the voters in California voted down every tax increase.
Totally.
But they
total revolution.
But they did remember to vote to limit the pay of legislators.
Of course, they're smart.
Something that we don't allow the public to do. Yeah. Every year we've been voting increases here, even in years in which people are suffering, and we're about to do another $1 billion for federal workers. This year, at a time when most people's revenue is going down, federal spending and federal employment will go up.
Tell us the one thing, the one bit of optimism that we can all hang on to as we face a debt that is frankly causing a lot of us to feel hopeless.
Well, I think the most important thing that is the American public no longer buys the idea that consumption is the way to do anything. I think Americans are beginning to realize again that while the government is borrowing and consuming, that in fact the private sector has realized that saving and investing is what they're going to have to do.
So on the personal level, from individuals to companies, small businesses, they get it.
They get it.
It's just getting those people back there to get it.
Well, they won't get it till the next election behind us.
Will they get it then?
I hope they get it, because whether they're Republicans or Democrats, if they continue to vote for bigger government, more spending at a time when Americans are saying just the opposite, they deserve to be pushed out. And Jesse Ventura and I would very much agree on that. The revolution you need is to vote out whoever doesn't get the message from the private sector.
That's our kind of revolution. Darrell,
thanks, David.
Thank you very much. Good to see you. Coming up on deck.